Coming up on Spotlight, we have an inspiring chat with Emmy-winning filmmaker Abiola Matesun, who won 2 Emmys this year. In our interview, he spoke to us about his passion for Nigeria and filmmaking. Do watch this.
First Emmy goes to
Inner Conflict, Malik Photo Films.
5 years after his decision to venture into filmmaking, U.S.A.-based Nigerian director Abiola Matesun says he's ready to work in the Nigerian film space, following his success at the Emmy Awards for his documentary Inner Conflict.
Just to collapse and lay in a fetal position and cry and say, why me?
Matesun, who scored a double win at the Telly Awards earlier in the year, believes in the power of film and storytelling to change the world, particularly his fatherland, Nigeria.
I'm highly interested in documentaries and short films. I believe that it's a requirement to build a nation, to get people encouraged about where they're going, and you know, we have a lot of beautiful stories as a nation. We have a lot of ways to go, as in where we're trying to go, and I believe that the film industry is it's an important part of that process. I saw this documentary. It's called "The Men That Built America." I saw that thing. After it, I just started crying. I was like, God, you have to help me, because the way that it was put together, and this great men, you know, that were giants in their industries and were backbones of the nation. I mean, we have things like that here. How come nobody knows about that? How come nobody's documented that? So, as I said, there are a lot of interesting, educational, and think about it. If that's as a kid, a lot of things that you learned were from one of those kind of programs, Sesame Street and this and this and that and that. How come we don't, you know, how come we're not invested in those things? So it's an important part of, beyond just being entertained. It's important because most of the things that you believe, most of the things that you do, most of the things that you're even willing to die for came to you in form of one story or the other.
Before his rise to fame through Malik Photo Films, Matesun, a graduate of Management Information Systems, started his career first as a photographer and later ventured into film. Finding his place in the industry was no easy feat, he says, having been raised in a community that did not place great value on creative work.
Photography came into the picture in 2000 when I got a gift. It was a camera from this friend of mine, and you know, started playing around with it. And it was a time of film where you have to develop, you know, you have to, then we didn't take 1,000 pictures, you took 12. You know, when you're done with the 12, you go develop it, you have to wait. It's not, oh, let me see what that looks like. No, you have to wait. You know, so did that and realized that I was interested in it and I was good at it. And it's interesting that you know, before then, there were not so many things that I was good at.
His documentary, Inner Conflict, picked the Emmy Awards for editing and photography, as well as directing. It follows a story of a boxer who finds himself at a crossroads of emotions.
One of my team members was like, I have this friend that is a boxer. I'm like, okay, that's good. We could, you know, shoot a boxer and, you know, do this and do that and do this. But we try to get a hold of him. You know, he's traveling, he's busy, and we couldn't do it. Then he comes back, he's like, this was 4 years in the making, this project, right? Oh, his mom was diagnosed with cancer. It's like, oh, that's a touchy place for me because, you know, I lost my mom at 17 to cancer. So I'm like, now I really, really want this project. Then, oh, he's training for this big fight, and his girlfriend is expecting a baby. So, I mean, I'm like, that's inner conflict right there. There's a lot of, you know, his mom, you know, they said it's terminal. She has X amount of, you know, months to live. He has this huge fight, and, you know, so his mom passed. He had the fight. He won, and, you know, the girlfriend delivered the baby. So that's the story, and it's a story that a lot of us can relate with or relate to, because we all have conflicts, internal conflicts that we're dealing with, you know. So and I told my team at that point, I'm like, you know, this material is award-winning material if we do it right, you know, because you just read some stories, you just know, you know. I'm like, but we have to do it right, which means that apart from the work that we're doing, we're putting, you know, hours and hours and hours into developing the story, you know, building it, and shooting it right, you know. So we shot for a couple of months. Editing took, you know, a while. Lighting, color correction, and all that, and you know, we put it out. So the first edit, I was like, no, this is not working, because you see, with the thing about film that a lot of people don't understand is anyone can shoot, right? But it's not everyone that has the ability to tell a story. And when you're telling that story, if it's done right, because now you're not physically telling the story, we're telling it through a medium.
Raised in different parts of Lagos, Surulere, Satellite Town and Kirikiri, Matesun, who once spent 4 years trying to obtain an OND in quantity surveying at Yaba Tech, is a strong believer that Nigerians can break barriers internationally if big dreams can be balanced with hard work.
That's the beauty of Nigerians. We're dreamers. We dream, you know, and you want to dream big. It doesn't cost you anything to dream. It's free. So make it as big as you want, you know. And you have to believe that, you know, you have to believe in those dreams, that it is possible. You see, when you add dream plus belief plus work, anything is possible to you at that point. The too many people that, you know, want to just dream and sit back, or want to just pray and sit back. The Bible talks about watching and praying, which the watching part of praying is, dude, you need to put some work in, you know. So if you sincerely desire it, it would come.
An Emmy Award, or simply Emmy, is an American award that recognizes excellence in the television industry and is the equivalent of an Academy Award for film, the Tony Award for theater, and the Grammy Award for music.
And then you got another type of person who gets up, dusts himself off, and says, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to use this as inspiration.